Pleasant afternoon to all my friends and mentors and peers. So today we have gathered here to discuss the Bahi Khata or budget for 21-22. Now you must be wondering what different am I offering to you in this budget analysis of mine today. Basically, to be honest, most of the data, for UPSC aspirants or otherwise also, whether they are newsrooms or various websites, the basic data has been accumulated or assimilated from the PIB sites. So I have not done different in that regard, but the major change that I have done is to change the approach in which I am going to achieve the ultimate objective, that is to simplify the budget analysis. So I have tried my best. I have created a novel type of presentation and restructured the presentation of data in such a way that will definitely make it easier for you to understand and grasp the basic concepts. So I'll just not go about blubbering and about data of different things, what the budget figures are and all that. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible and as engaging. And at the end of the session, I've also created a small question bank for you. So just stay tuned and bear with me even if this session gets prolonged for a little. So let us start with this. So now the word budget has not been mentioned anywhere in the Indian Constitution. According to Article 112 of the Constitution, we know something about the annual financial statement. That says that the President in every financial year shall lay down a statement of the estimated revenues, that is receipts and expenditures for the coming year by the government, and the same shall be discussed as such. So this is the basic annual, that is referred to as the annual financial statement. This is what Article 112 says in the Constitution. Now the National Statistic Office has already compiled the basic data of our GDP and has said that the GDP impacted by the COVID-19, our economy, our GDP has already contracted by 7.7%. But the Finance Minister, the Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, has clearly said that even in this gloomy picture of our economy impacted by COVID-19, we still have hopes, we still have promises to keep, and the budget, in my analysis, really caters to the well-being of the different sections of the society, and compiled with whatever the budget says, the different sectors, the agri sectors, inclusive growth, development, MSMEs. So it aims to club all together, and we'll start with that. So basically what the budget talks about is the 6 pillars. Already the budget is organized, so it has defined 6 pillars. So first pillar we talk about, that is health and well-being. Then we talk about physical and financial capital and infrastructure. Then we come to inclusive development for aspirational India. Then the fourth is reinvigorating human capital. Then fifth is innovation and R&D, and lastly we have minimum government and maximum governance. So let us start with the first pillar. So health and well-being. Now there in this budget, the unique feature is that there has been a substantial increase of 137% of budget allocation with respect vis-a-vis the previous financial year. So here is the basic figure. So 137% rupees to rupees 2,23,846 crores, and preventive, curative, well-being are the 3 major areas on which this budget constitutes, that is the health and well-being part. Because all these 3, first we come to preventive. If preventive is not successful, then we come to the cure, and finally when we combine all the aspects of the health development aspects, then we come to the final achievement, the goal, that is well-being. So I will be discussing the basic and interesting stuff because most of the data you can, various sites are offering that. So first, under health and well-being are the health systems. So basically, there is Atmanirbhar Swasthya Bharat Yojana, which is something of significance which our finance minister has provided in this budget. So these are basically just facts and figures. These urban health and wellness centers are there, and National Institution for One Health, mobile hospitals. Then we have, then this is important, the National Center for Disease Control. Now it is the interesting facts I'm just going to enumerate for you. The NCDC is the nodal agency in our country to facilitate the curing, the monitoring and the control of the communicable diseases of India, and is also providing the technical expertise or the technical manpower to achieve this goal. Then another, there is the National Institution of One Health. The primary health and wellness centers have already been discussed. There is provisions for augmenting all these. Then the important thing is this regional research platform for WHO South Asia region, because COVID-19 is not only confined to the geographical boundaries of our country. It has spanned the entire, it has inflicted its wrath upon all these segments of the society of the world. So, and this is the basic thing. Then we come to the water and sanitation. So now we have the Jal Jeevan Mission. The Jal Jeevan Mission, as was previously, it has been in progress from the previous years. So basically, the Jal Jeevan Mission aims to provide tapped water supply by 2024 in rural areas. So 55 liters of water, tapped water per person per day it aims to provide. And these facts, why I'm telling you, because the prelims objective questions might revolve, or they might try to confuse or test your skills while putting these facts. So some facts, not all facts, some facts you need to remember. Then, like I said, this is household tap connections, liquid waste management. These are just common terms. Even while writing mains answers, you can use these terms. Then fecal sludge, reduction of single-use plastic. Source segregation is a novel concept. Like in foreign countries, there's something known as distributing or segregating between wet and dry use. Then bioremediation. Bioremediation basically means the use of microorganisms or the natural conditions to decontaminate a particular area. So this is a novel technique, and it is a technique which is technical but does not require a lot of finance or infrastructure. So this is a novel technique, and this will be discussed in the environment sections as well. So it is important from the mains point of view. So the next section on is vaccines. Of course, 35,000 crore for COVID-19 vaccines, and made in India pneumococcal vaccine. Now pneumococcal, just a fact related to science and tech. Pneumococcal diseases are any set of diseases that are caused by pneumococcal bacteria. Now these are the prime bacteria, or the disease is responsible for pneumonia, which inflicts a large section of our society, especially the people over the age of 65 years, or the toddlers below the age of 2 years, or who are the people who are habitual smokers. So this pneumonia, need to eradicate pneumonia, we need to have this vaccine. Then we have nutrition. Now Poshan Abhiyan is already in progress for quite some time. Poshan is Prime Minister's overarching holistic nutrition approach, and basically it is to again strengthen nutritional content, developmental outcomes, and to reduce malnutrition, the stunting, the wasting, because even if you have read the stats in the Human Development Index and other the hunger index, India fares pretty poorly in these respects. And we have basically aspirational districts. Now aspirational districts are basically they are deprived of the basic, the amenities, the food supplies, the agriculture supplies, safe drinking water and navigation. So some districts, at least one from each state, have been selected to, special focus is provided on Mission Focus 2.0 on these aspirational districts. Next we come to others. Basically we have been talking about the diesel vehicles, and we are talking about the switch over to the FAME scheme, the electricity scheme, electric vehicle scheme, and CNG, all this. So basically fitness test and the scrapping of old vehicles, that is being promoted by our honorable the Transport Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari. So basically voluntary vehicle scrapping policy is there, and fitness tests after 20 years for personal vehicles and 15 years for, and of course people usually have a habit not getting their pollution checked. So all these citizens also have to implement, or they have to integrate themselves to act as a coherent unit. So next we come to the physical and financial. This is the second pillar. So basically let's discuss this. First is manufacturing under this. So production linked incentive scheme again has been targeted by the government in order to improve the domestic output and promote jobs and development and provide a holistic, because manufacturing sector still contributes a significantly low amount of GDP, the percentage of GDP. Basically it's all about service sector, but manufacturing, iron and steel, these form the backbone of the industry. We definitely need to serve our country in these areas. So basically provide jobs to the youth, and 197 lakh crore in next 5 years in 13 sectors, cutting edge technology. Obviously these might seem to be very hi-fi words, but again if you're writing an answer you need to know all these words so that you just don't go about writing common layman statements. So what is the impact? Side by side from some points I'll also try to analyze the budget side by side. So basically it intends to bring the manufacturing hub of the world to India. It intends to bring about a change, a revolution change. It intends to project India into the global economy, make India a landmark for global manufacturing opportunities. So these terms like plug and play infrastructure and all that you can use. Now we come to textiles. So there is something called the Mitra scheme. Textiles, of course, agricultural and allied activities, when we talk about it, is one of the major sectors of export for India. And so we have in this mega investment textiles park. Now textile parks are something which are basically catering to the specialized development of the agriculture sector. It is on the lines of the Software Technology Parks of India, STPIs, and so again this has to intends to attract large investments, develop jobs, promote competitive development. Then that was about textiles. Then is national infrastructure pipeline. Again this is a very important point, national infrastructure pipeline. This includes about 7,400 projects. So development financial institution. Now already we have a lot of All India financial institution, but the dedicated development financial institution was in the network for a long time, and finally this promise has been kept, and there is a provision this time in the budget for the development financial institution to finance this NIP to come into picture. So debt financing, FPIs, these are going to be enabled by InvITs and REITs, that is Infrastructure Investment Trust and the Real Estate Investment Trusts. So InvIT, what do you understand by InvIT? InvIT is basically a type of, you can say, mutual fund. Not exactly a mutual fund, but a type of it. in which basically the people, they pool together some amount of money and they purchase a share of a particular infrastructure, and once they pool the money, the infrastructure is developed, and then that infrastructure is so developed and the capital assets required are less, and when it starts to generate revenue, that is immense. Similarly, the real estate also, when there is a no actual ownership of the entire property but the share of a particular property or an asset, then many people combine together to purchase that asset, and then when it is developed, that asset starts generating revenue. Asset monetization. So now asset monetization, although it may seem that we are monetizing the asset, actually we are not trying to convert the asset into money. Now there lies the basic difference between asset monetization and disinvestment. Disinvestment is actually selling some part of shares of these public sector enterprises to the private players or other individuals. But in asset monetization, what we are doing is we are not transferring the ownership, we are just transferring part of control to the other organization. For example, if we talk about toll managing organizations, so they will when the part of the structure of that asset is transferred to the toll management organization, they will supply to the government some amount of fund, but the revenue generation which will take place on the basis of the road, whatever the traffic, vehicular traffic, commercial traffic is there, they will own that revenue, and whatever revenue generation they incur, and then this a part of it, a part of share of expenses and all that will also be shared by the government, and a share of whatever the revenue generation is occurring, then that will be accrued to the government as well. So capital budget, again capital expenditure we were talking about. Other financing initiatives, financial capital, of course, the Securities Market Code, FinTech Hub. Now this is a new term. When I was working at an organization also, FinTech, Financial Technology and Gujarat International Financial Tech City and International Financial Service Center. So GIFT City is the first of its kind. So IFSC basically doesn't cater to the domestic aspirants. It caters to the international, the global market players. It provides them facilities of special kinds of high-tech capabilities. So this is the importance of the GIFT IFSC. Then bond market, and this is just again when we come to the renewable energy, finds a very significant spot in every aspect of the Indian society, and rest is just data, you can go through it. Again other financing, so increasing FDI in the insurance sector. Now relaxing the terms of the FDI or the foreign direct investment has been going on for the past several years by the government in order to again invite more investment, because FDI, when we talk about foreign direct investment, is more a type of permanent investment, unlike the portfolio investment in which the foreign investment, which is known as volatile or hot money, and in FPIs what happens is the investors can withdraw their money based on the rise, the bulls and bears of the stock market. But FDI in insurance sector, when a part of some organization is purchased, greenfield or brownfield investment is made, not only it provides competition with the domestic players, but it also enhances the productivity or the economy generation or the economic improvement of the sector. And stressed asset resolution. Okay, now already we have the reconstruction, private asset reconstruction companies, but there was a significant lack of a national level asset reconstruction company, because this is a type of what we call a bad bank. So basically whichever company is going insolvent or going to declare itself bankrupt, an orderly resolution is significant in that regard, and that company which is going to get bankrupt, for private restructuring company, again the point of profits and discounts come into place. And why the asset reconstruction companies have not been successful till now, the reason for that is that not only they are unwilling to sell their assets at a discount, but they are also apprehensive of being tormented or being reprimanded by the state governmental agencies. So a national level asset reconstruction company is a much viewed as a very important component of this budget. So again, it is just recurring or commemorating what I have said in the analysis. So you can go through it. Recapitalization of PSBs. Of course, there have been, banks have been flooded with tons and tons of NPAs, non-performing assets. So of course, because we also have domestically systematically important institutions, so it's a responsibility. Banking, the financial sector is the backbone of our economy. So we have to take measures to write off and off balance sheets improvement, and so to consolidate the financial capacities of PSBs, we have allocated this much money. Earlier you might remember there was an Indradhanush scheme also. Deposit insurance, basically this has been much talked about also. For example, if a bank goes into liquidation, last year the Deposit Insurance Guarantee Corporation of India, the government increased the limit, the liability or the limit which can be reclaimed by an individual from 1 lakh to 5 lakh. So it means that if you have a certain deposit in a bank and the bank suddenly goes into liquidation, it declares itself deprived of assets, so the person is guaranteed of an amount of 5 lakh, but that is still very less if you have a lot of money in your savings account, your life earned savings are there. So these issues are still revolving, these are plaguing the Indian society, and already social security measures are not very strong in our country, and so deposit insurance is a way out of these. That is why the SARFAESI Act, security restructuring and debt recovery, these have been emphasized in the help depositors get an easy and time bound access. So whenever there is a money crunch, especially when this in the wake of this COVID-19 pandemic, there was definitely a need to get this time bound access to the funds. Okay, treasury single account, basically this is again a type of fancy term. Basically it unifies the base, all the revenue generation sources it's simply, you can relate it to a single window platform, because there are multiple avenues for government financing, multiple avenues for who are dealing with the accounting measures and stuff. So this is a TSA for, and of course ease of doing business, this term is ubiquitous. Then other financing initiatives we continue. Company matters. Okay, decriminalize the limited. Now again, this, when more partnerships, in order to promote more entrepreneurships or opportunities. Limited liability, what basically partnership when 2 or more people are establishing a company. So limited liability, if again that company or partnership goes into liquidation or declares insolvency, then the personal assets are not liable to be sold off. So in that way the partners are protected under the limited liability partnership. Now decriminalization is important because decriminalization aims at transferring the aim or motive from fines to penalties. There is slight difference, but when the fines are transferred towards penalties, then penalties, they remove the fear among the partners or the entrepreneurs to stick to the guidelines and evade taxes. So basically decriminalization is, the aim of that is what I said, and easing compliance requirement for small companies and faster resolution by National Companies Law Tribunal. and MCA 3.0, 21 version 3.0. So various financial companies or financial analysts, they have been using this MCA 21 site to get access to all the different financial institutions, the corporates, the managers of the country who are dealing with the financial transactions, so as to consolidate a single window platform where they can access data, and then these can be used for the consolidation of the economy. So disinvestment and strategic sale, again I have explained the difference between disinvestment and asset monetization. So in this budget also, the one of the chief measures or chief avenues for raising the revenue by the government is by disinvestment and the sales of assets, because as you know, if you have gone through the basic crux of the budget, there have not been any significant changes in the personal or the corporate tax profiles. The slabs have not been changed. So what is the way to generate income? So this is a way to generate the non-debt capital receipts. Okay, so special purpose vehicle and strategy. IPO of LIC. IPO is basically initial public offering. Special purpose vehicle is a type of legal mechanism, a type of institution which is, it isolates a particular set of assets and it is designated for a particular purpose, and it is then disenfranchised after that purpose is over. So you might come across this term also. So disinvestment, when we talk about, we have this NINL, Nispat Nigam Limited, then we have Shipping Corporation of India, then we have Bharat Movers Limited, which is this deals with the steel, this deals with the heavy machinery. Bharat Petroleum Air and IDBI Bank, then this is Concor, Container Corporation of India. So all these are there which are in the works of promoting disinvestment. So again, physical, we continue, it's a long, we come to transportation, roads and highways, a major, recently, a lot of work has been done on the construction and improvement of the highways to make traveling, because connectivity, it's all about connectivity. When we talk about the Bharatmala Pariyojana also, not only last mile connectivity, the major routes are congested, they are stuffed with traffic. So the port connectivity, the connection of the roads to the railway connectivity. So all these integration have been there. Then economic corridors are being planned already. So if you notice, they are being planned, although it's a bit confrontational topic. But the thing is that when we talk about the economic corridors, so basically there was when Mrs. Sitharaman introduced this concept, that introduced this provision, so there was a huge uproar by the other opposition parties, because these 4 states are currently in the progress, they are approaching elections, so it is deemed to be allegedly politically motivated. Then again, flagship corridors, traffic management systems, all this digitalization process is there. Then we come to the railways. Again, we already have the Western DFCs and Eastern DFCs, and all these, the question bank which I have prepared at the end, all the questions are related to all these things. So just stay tuned and try to pay as much attention as you can. So Vista Dome, LHB, eliminate train collision, national rain plan is there. So basically this is there. Then transportation, now by this icon you can realize the rapid transport system, the buses, the public transport has to be encouraged. Already it is bursting, our country is bursting with a spurt of vehicles, and so the bus transport system is very essential. So metro rail network, there are two components, that is Metrolite and Metro Neo. Of course, fancy terms, make people interested. So you can go and study about this. And of course, RRTS. So this is the basic port shipping waterways. Again, jobs, PPP mode. Again, we are like recently we have come across the 13th major port, which is that is Vadhavan in Maharashtra. So again, this is PPP mode. We are transferring some ownership, some assets. We are encouraging more private players to promote efficiency and economic productivity and create jobs. So that is again energy. Alternatives to choose the distribution company to enhance. Again, DISCOMs, assistant to DISCOMs. If you recollect, there has been a scheme by the government, Machin, that is the Uday scheme for rehabilitating or assisting the losses which have been incurred by the DISCOMs. Then national hydrogen, of course, hydrogen fuel cells we have all heard about, but in India still it is in a phase of infancy. So this gas is an important alternative source of energy. Petroleum and natural gas. Again, Ujjwala Yojana, which deals with the LPG collections. Then a new gas pipeline project in J&K, independent gas transport system operator. So all these city gas distribution, again we are trying to, whether it is transport or energy or pipelines and Bharatmalas and all, these are aimed to promote the development to every nook and corner of the country, the remotest of the villages, the remotest of the borders. We have to tackle the Chinese incursions, the Pakistani assault. So all these, the trade, the export, import, transport, we are having free trade agreements. So all these come into picture. Okay, now we come to the next pillar, that is inclusive development. So first we come to the agriculture sector, again much in demand these days. Ensured MSP, now legalization of MSP has been a center point of farmers' demand. Swamitva scheme, now this is an important scheme which you must be, it is basically under the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, and Swamitva scheme, by it aims to implement the use of technology to consolidate land records in rural areas, so that the people, even if they don't have proper certificates of land ownership, they are assured of their ownership or their assets are well protected by the use of technology such as drones to assess the areas, the land measurement and who owns what. Then Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, Micro Irrigation Fund, Operation Green Scheme. Basically it's for the perishable products, we'll discuss about it. A major point why I've underlined APMC is that the three farm bills, there is a general apprehension that the trading, the interstate and interstate trading is going to destroy the APMC, the ENAM or the Mandi structure, but it is not. It is just a way to complement, not supplement the APMC, so that it promotes greater association, greater development, greater cohesiveness, greater competition and productivity across different. There is no, so that the people are not lethargic about even the production of the agricultural crops or the distribution, the logistics, the supply chains, the value chains, they all have to work in integration. Next we come to fisheries. Multi-purpose seaweed park, blue economy has been much in discussions. Aquaculture, It's all about, when we talk about blue economy, the extraction of resources, whether it be fish or seaweeds or other resources. It's all about sustainable use of resources. So we don't have a tragedy of commons. That is, all the people have access to the resources and they benefit from it. Then migrant workers and laborers, again, one nation, one ration card scheme, much was in discussion during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Unorganized labor force. Then 4 labor codes. Although there are various insurance schemes and provident funds and like employment state insurance corporation, but social security is unfortunately, or even the sound or particular contract, paper, physical contract of a job or guaranteed salary is not assured to social security workers. It does not complement their efforts. So in order to reduce burdens and registration time and licensing, also various measures have been introduced. Then we have financial inclusion. Of course, any topic is incomplete without the mention of financial inclusion. So we have again MSME sectors, then SCs and STs, women, margin money requirement. Margin money requirement basically deals with the affordable housing projects and agricultural activities, as always. Okay, next pillar, that is reinvigorating human capital. Education. Although not much has been talked about education, because we have already the national educational policy, which has been criticized, has been emphasized, it has been dealt with a lot of praises and insults as well. So Sainik schools basically, as the name suggests, corresponds to the military adherence, or there is a military inclination to these schools. Basically it caters to the needs of the boys who are physically adept at seeing their future in the army or military. Then higher education commission, then grant, Central University, of course, Ladakh. To appease all people, we have to keep doing something. So scheduled castes and Eklavya model schools. These are basically for tribal welfare people by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Revamped post-matric scholarship scheme. So basically there's no point dwelling much upon this. You just have to recognize or realize the basic features or basic facts which will help you in solving the MCQs. Skilling Apprenticeship Act, National Apprenticeship Training Scheme. Because when we look at the education system in our country, the market orientation, there is a lack of skills to market, there is a mismatch. So training, vocational institutes, ITIs, and even the vocational training in the national education policy has been introduced from class 6. So all these go forward a long way to augment the skilling capacities. And obviously, since we are a global economy, all the countries have started working together. So there is partnership with other countries like UAE and Japan also. You can just study the details. Next we come to innovation and RD. Research, National Research Foundation. Language. Now, National Language Translation Mission, of course, we have to cater, since so much diversity exists in our country, to access information, to publish NCERTs online, to develop the massive online open courses, and to gain access to IGNOU, then to gain access to vocational education, digital content, even the applications developed by RBI, this National Language Translation Mission, which aims at transmitting the resources through the channels of various languages. This is much in news. Then we have space exploration, obviously Gaganyaan mission, PSLV, New Space India Limited. We will be discussing this in one of the questions. And Gaganyaan mission we have already discussed earlier. PSLVs now, our PSLVs have also started carrying or shouldering the burden of the satellites of other countries, which was not the case a few years back. So we have traveled a lot of steps in those directions. Then the last pillar is the minimum government, maximum governance. So here we have judicial reforms in tribunals to ensure quick resolution of contractual disputes with central public sector undertakings. Healthcare professionals, and also we can talk about in this section, we can talk about the concept of e-courts, which is also much in one of the, I cannot really recollect which state it was, but one of the courts in one of the states, they have actually conducted the e-court hearing of one of the criminals or the accused. Then we have the healthcare professionals, allied healthcare professionals. Some new terms keep propping up. So Nursing and Midwifery Commission. Midwives are basically similar to nurses, not much to talk about. Digital census. Okay, Ms. Sitaraman has said that these upcoming census, because we have all been bored with the census of 2011. So she has said that this could be the first ever digital census in India. So that is a thing of interest. The future UPSC aspirants would be more inclined to study the census. And liberation grant to Goa, liberation for Portuguese and tea workers in Assam. Now my sister also, who is an intellectual, she asked me, she is in a multinational company unlike me, so she asked me what is the point of this 300 liberation Portuguese. So Portuguese celebration was, so what is the point? But again, we don't know, we don't want to debate, we don't want to conceptualize or speculate anything. So fiscal position. Now the important aspect of this year's fiscal budget, like I have said earlier also, I'll reiterate that the major sources of revenue will be not tax but sales of assets, disinvestment and borrowings. So that is the thing, government borrowings, small savings funds, the fiscal deficit will be funded by this. So again, borrowing, we have to reduce. Currently it is somewhere around, it is 9.5 projected fiscal deficit impacted by the economy, for the economy impacted by, but later on it is aimed to reduce it to somewhere around 8%. Then we have, these are just technical terms to be used in the mains. Received from monetization of assets, public sector, we have already talked about that. Buoyancy of tax revenue, basically to bring more people into tax compliance. And in my initial discussion of paper 2, we had talked about faceless assessments by robotic process automation, so as to put a curb to illicit tax evaders. And then again we have Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Revenue deficit grant to 17 states. Now some important questions, because these terms might seem very not fancy, they might seem very deadly or dangerous, they sound dangerous. Basically, fiscal deficit is the difference between total expenditure minus total revenues minus non-debt capital receipts So when we talk about table, I'll just create a table for you. Basically, when we talk about, we have the revenue receipts and just go to this screen. Okay, so receipts and expenditures have been divided into these two parts. Revenue receipts, basically they consist of tax and non-tax, and revenue expenditure consists of the recurring expenditure on a daily basis. It does not create any sorts of assets. For example, salaries, pensions, subsidies. Capital receipts are of two types: debt, like borrowings and loans, and non-debt, that is disinvestment. Capital expenditure creates assets, asset creation like infrastructure. Okay, so fiscal deficit is basically difference between क्या गया और क्या आया. Okay, so what we are getting is revenue receipts and capital receipts. Okay, but when we are talking about fiscal deficit, we don't include the debt part. We only include non-debt part. So when we talk about the receipts which are getting, the total receipts, so we have revenue receipts per plus capital receipts excluding the debt receipts, debt creating receipts, and when we calculate the expenditure, we include all the revenue expenditure and this expenditure. So for example, this is A, this is B, this includes only, and this is C and D. So fiscal deficit is basically C plus D minus A plus B. Now this value is mostly positive in case of India because capital all their expenditure is basically receipt, so that is why we have a fiscal deficit. So again we go to the main slides. Revenue deficit grant. Revenue deficit is basically difference between the revenue expenditure and the revenue receipts. Again, revenue deficit grant, what is this? So basically, like we talked about, capital receipts is basically the revenue deficit is equal to rev expenditure minus rev receipts. Now this revenue deficit generally comes high because it also includes the grants which is given to the states by the center. So if we have to calculate the effective revenue deficit, then we subtract the grants from the revenue deficits. Because grants ultimately, why we are talking about effective revenue, because the grants that will be also the intent of the government would be to create assets. So effectively it will not become a part of the deficit. So again, this is the estimate. For example, like I said, for revised estimates 2020, the GDP 9.5 and 6.8% is predicted. So currently it is 4.5. Move to the next slide. Tax proposals, I'll quickly go through this. Again, vision of a transparent, efficient tax systems to improve the compliance and to reduce the tax evasion. Relief to senior citizens. So good to be a senior citizen at this point of time. Obviously, we also talk about the silver economy, that is the geriatric healthcare and healthcare policies. We are transcending the structure of the demographic dividend of our society. So reducing disputes. We have always talked about National Faceless Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, tax evasion cases, dispute resolution committee, reopening cases. So all this is there. Relaxation to NRIs. Obviously, we have to cater to the needs of the Indian diaspora so that they keep on promoting our interests abroad. Incentivizing digital economy. So everything is turning digital, and so not much to discuss. Relief for dividend. This tax deduction at source. Again, we have discussed about rates and in-weights, and deduction of tax on dividend income for foreign, to include global players, because already, like we discussed, this budget is more focused on borrowing, so we need to cater to the fiscal deficit also. So supporting housing for all, we have also discussed this in some way earlier. Tax holiday, deduction of interests. So we have talked about marginal money in this regard earlier. So moving on. Then again, we have talked about incentives to IFSC, International Finance Service Center. Then again, aircraft, foreign lessors, capital gains, relocating foreign funds, foreign banks. So like I had earlier emphasized, that IFSC basically caters to the our foreign friends, so as to make it a world-class facility. Relief to small trusts, charitable trusts, labor welfare. So all you see, even when we are talking about Part B, this actually the tax proposals, both direct and indirect taxes, they come under Part B of the budget. But as you see, what we have discussed in Part A, all these are basically facilitating the things or the points or the features of Part A. No changes to corporate or personal income taxes. This has basically been done so as to, because obviously the wealthy can still afford to pay from the richest, but again, COVID-19 impact, everybody is complaining. We don't want another protest on our hands. Custom duty rationalization. Now, custom duty, as you might be knowing, whenever something is imported from abroad, there is a custom duty that is applied. So, Durant Customs Initiative, faceless, paperless. Okay. So on some products we have increased the duty, and on some products we have decreased the duty. For example, duty has been reduced on iron and steel. We are going to do an analysis on this also, or here also we can do an analysis that what we have actually iron and steel, 70% of the iron and steel, that is already imported under the free trade agreements. So it does not involve any custom duty. So even if the duty has been improved, duty has been reduced, it will not affect the domestic producers of the alloy, that is steel, much. Now duty has been increased upon one of some basic like solar inverters and solar. We have talked in earlier sessions about the domestic production, that is blue wafer and black wafer. So domestic manufacturers are already importing. What they are doing is they are acting very shrewdly, and some of them are importing already semi-diffused silicon wafers from abroad, and they are even then claiming compensation under various schemes like KUSUM and all. So in order to, once the duty will be increased, so less import of the solar components and domestic manufacturing will be encouraged, make in India will be encouraged. Then again, MSME products, some duties here and there, agricultural products, agricultural infrastructure and development, cess. Now again we talk about cess, things keep coming to my mind. Cess is basically something which is for a specific purpose, doesn't go to the CFI, cannot be used for normal expenditure for capital assets, and cess is something which is not levied on the taxable income but the tax payable. So cess is something which is imposed on tax payable but not on taxable income. So this is the basic difference between income tax and cess. For example, the Krishi Kalyan cess, and here also we have one or two cesses, that is the petrol cesses on petrol and diesel, will come to that. Again, here analysis already has been 70% of India's free, and again AIDC we have talked about. This will also not impact on customer cess because this cess is being offset by a cut in excise duty. Now excise duties is something which is imposed on production of any items in layman terms. So basically if the the producer is also somewhere along the value chain of the production line, there is also a customer. So already when we are reducing the production cost, so that will also reduce his expenses, and that additional expenses will be compensated by the increase in customer sales under the AIDC. So in a way we are just subtracting something and we are adding something. Where there is some provision with the GST, restricting the option of refund of GST paid might hurt the exporters. This you can research a bit. Okay, analysis, key takeaways. So we'll quickly go through it. Okay. First of all, there has been a strong capex push, that is the capital expenditure push, that is growth positive, along with a lot of emphasis on health sector, financial inclusion, agriculture sector, women empowerment, and all these areas. This is bound to improve economic recovery. Then realistic budget numbers will help relieve the pressure on tax authorities and to engage in tax. Now what happened over the previous budgets is that the revenue expenditure is somehow always shown to be, expenditure of the government is somehow shown to be less. Okay, and the revenue accrued is somewhat shown to be high. So in this way, the ultimately when we do all the mathematical probabilities and calculation, ultimately we result at a very small percentage of fiscal deficit as compared to GDP. For example, in the previous year's revised estimates also, the GDP was shown to be much less as compared to the actual GDP. But in this, like we have already talked about the figures of 9.5% fiscal deficit percentage of GDP and 6.8 fiscal deficit. So what our finance minister has done is she has fulfilled her duty to better inform what actually is happening in the economy, and we are in a serious fiscal deficit. So tax terrorism is that, in order to some authorities, they might be inclined, that people are definitely evading taxes, but that is not exactly the case in this. Basically, this will not only help, in the actual figures will not only help in reducing tax terrorism, it will also provide an avenue for constructive debates and how to plan for further fiscal deficit management in the future. Because if, whether new aspirant or old UPSC aspirant, you might have come across, first of all, we don't understand what is GDP, and once we even understand GDP by a simple definition given in the economics NCERT, then we keep debating, okay, this figure is too high, this figure is too low, the government is disguising the fiscal deficit and all that. So on this front, it is very good. Then shift from the revenue expenditure to the capital expenditure, because the revenue, again and again I'm concentrating on this fact that the revenue which is to be raised is from the assets, the sale of assets and other stuff, and the capital expenditure will not, expenditure will be done in terms of capital expenditure, that is on assets, that is roads and infrastructure, health sector, irrigation, highways, agriculture. Revenue expenditure, like, it includes only recurring expenditure, like I explained to you in the table, that is, it will include the salary, subsidies. So more focus in being done in capital expenditure, so that this becomes the backbone of the development and fiscal consolidation. Okay, some negatives are also there. Education ministry has received less allocation. One surprising thing is that IT sector, which is in India, a lot of jobs, so many jobs are getting outsourced, but still IT sectors, Infosys, Wipro, and the mid-level sectors like Mindtree, Hexaware, they have not received much focus in this. So that is a bit surprising. Then of course, rural job scheme, the allocation has also reduced. So it doesn't augur well for curtailing the protest at the New Delhi border. So, and of course, consumption, this does not augur well. It does not, the budget does not talk about the rural consumption, which has also been hit. So that consumption and demand, ultimately they are the drivers of fiscal consolidation and recovery of the economy. And this is also, since it is more concentrated in borrowing, so it may hit the sovereign bonds. Some evidence is already in picture. Sovereign bonds are basically government issued bonds. So in order to borrow money, in layman terms, for example, we have to borrow from US. So government bonds are issued to the US, then US grants us some money. So obviously, higher the rating of the sovereign bonds, that is, higher the fiscal strength or the fiscal economical strength of our country, the lower will be the yield. Yield is the interest rates which the government, which India will have to pay to US while returning the borrowed money or loan. So since we are already borrowing, so the safety or if we are going to demand our money back, the bonds become sort of a risk factor for the government or the foreign entity which has purchased the bonds. So when we are, but we have to, in this case, we have to deftly manage the government relations with the RBI, because ultimately RBI is managing the monetary policy while the fiscal policy is being managed by the government. So when we balance these and we keep the yield to a minimum and we infuse the capital expenditure, we invite global players through FDIs, FPIs. So again, India's sovereign bonds are safe. So it will become a win-win situation. So this is sort of a gray area for now. The positives we have discussed: the capital expenditure, the tax, the fiscal deficit, then job creation, outgrowth. Then the negatives in red, that is, the IT sector has not been given emphasis, rural consumption, education. So further you can conduct further analysis. Okay, so before we arrive at the question bank, I would just like to conclude the budget that Rabindranath Tagore, it is already given at the end of the PIB, but the ultimate objective, I'll explain, the ultimate objective of our economy, the quote which he implies is that only if a bird is singing and seeing light in the darkest of the dawns, only then, when India achieves that goal, only then we will become a successful economy. And we are at a threshold level, we are at a watershed moment in our economy. But the budget, according to me and several other analysts who are at a much higher level, they have concluded that the budget is inclusive, all inclusive in many strengths. It focuses upon women empowerment, the inclusive sector, and the sankalp of one nation. And obviously, it also caters to the Amrut Mahotsav, the principles of 2015-16 budget, which were to be culminated in the Amrut Mahotsav on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of our independence. So all these are looking, the budget has given a positive look. They have given new aspirations. It has sort of lived to the promises of the common man or the agricultural laborers on a holistic basis. So now what I'll be doing is question bank, because there is a lack of time. I would not be discussing the answers. What I would like you to do, I will just discuss the basic themes of the question, and then when you are viewing this lecture or viewing on YouTube, you can either solve it and keep it with yourself, the answers, or you can post it in the comment section in the YouTube. After 2 or 3 days, when I've got sufficient responses, or anyways, I don't much care about the views, I'll give that answer key or set and the model answers or the mains by some means, either on the comment section, or I will upload the PDF. So these questions you will find very interesting. Just go through them. I'll be running this slide for 5-10 seconds so that you can pause and view these questions. So I'll be doing this. So let us begin the question bank. Okay. Now, like I said, that all the questions will be related to what we have discussed. The Sabka Vishwas scheme, it is dealing with the tax incentives to ensure tax compliance and reduce the tax evaders. So just read these options, select the correct option which you feel right. Then we go to the next question. There is the 15th Finance Commission. There was a slight change on the basis of which the 15th Finance Commission over the past few years has been devolution of the finances have been done from the central pool. So this question you can go through. Then we move on. Primary deficit. I have discussed fiscal deficit. I have discussed revenue deficit. But this is also an important question which keeps on recurring. It keeps on showing up in one exam or the other. So you have to solve this. Then we have public debt of India. Which of the following is included in the public debt? Then capital receipts, increase liabilities, or this also I have discussed, so shouldn't be much tough for you. Iron and steel, we have discussed the duty, that is part of key part of analysis in our budget. So this is, then we have again receipts, a lot of budget related questions. Then again Swamitva Yojana, just to solidify your foundation so that you never forget this Yojana. Okay, this is more geography, inclined towards geography, the dedicated freight corridor. So then we have the Jal Jeevan Mission. Then we have goods and services split tax tribunal. Obviously, resolution of all the not only indirect tax, direct taxes, they are all part of fiscal consolidation to restrain or curtail tax evasion. This is to resolve conflicts. The new Space India Limited, we talked about it in the space section, in the pillar of R&D and innovation. So this you can take down. Then we have National Translation Mission, obviously again R&D part, Digital National Translation Mission. Then we have the fisheries sector. We talked about the fisheries in the along with the agriculture and the scrapping policies. One nation, one ration card scheme, very important in the wake of COVID pandemic. The migrant laborers were not able to achieve their inclusiveness by having access to rations. Eklavya model, we have discussed this along with the Sainik schools. Again, all you have to do is read the question, the options, and the options of the answers to be marked carefully, and it will be easy for you. We have mostly discussed this. SAS campaign. Now you will, when you study about this, I'm not going to tell you how we have discussed this, how it is related to the budget discussion, but when you come to the answer, when you study about this, or when I give you the answer, then you will come to know its relevance. And Model APMC Act. This is 2003 Act, but it still has relevance and it will continue to have relevance for quite a bit of time. Then we have Bharatmala. Then we have crops. You have to tell which of the following are kharif crops. Again, agriculture section is there. Transport. Again, I have made a question based on health, Poshan Abhiyan, FSSAI, Eat Right Movement. Very important section. Again, tax revenues. So you can go to this. This again we had talked about the scrapping policies and the vehicles causing a lot of pollution. So BS6 norms, they have already come into picture, come into effective implementation, but you can relate this with environment section and the alternative energy section. Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. We talked about that 1 lakh, switching from 1 lakh to 5 lakh, and the liabilities, and ensuring that the savings are well accounted for and well safeguarded. Okay, so that was the conclusion of the main section. Now we come to the prelims, and now is the mains question. Now these are also extremely relevant from the point of view to the budget. Obviously these, you might think, once you have created a model answer or some answer of your own, that the job is done. No, new budget has come, new provisions have come, new data has come. It is necessary to incorporate all this in your latest analysis, and to fetch more marks, you have to give examiner something different, which is something exceptional from the rest. So you can attempt these questions. You can mail them or log on to the Patanjali, and you can prepare a PDF for that and upload. Then, so this we come to the end, a nice inclusive things of all cultures and religions and relationships. And lastly, just I have put a quote from the Senior Vice President of Retail at Apple Inc. The thing is, I don't want to be sold to when I walk into a store, when to be welcomed. So this is what our aim is. Again, we are taking Sabka Vishwas, Sabka from Vivad to Vishwas scheme. We have to take a holistic development. We have to take along, we have to walk along with all others. We have to help each other in the development of the economy, in the progress, in the social economic development. We have to contribute to the international value, international image, international branding of India as a united and integrated nation. So all should be appear to be welcome to our great country. And with this, I conclude our budget analysis. Hope again I see forward to your feedbacks, your indispensable feedbacks. So we'll meet again probably with the analysis of the economic survey. So till then, I'll take your leave. Jai Hind.